Okay, campers, just going to go over my camping emergency bag with you. I believe this is final. This is all I need. The reason I've gone this small is I need to reduce my load on my kayak when I'm going kayak camping. And I'm tending to do more of that than any car camping or anything else. And it's typically solo, so I need this. A couple of things. This is an emergency bag. It's not everything. I carry a knife on me. I have a hat. I have a jacket. I have other clothes. I have a tent. I have a hammock. I have a top. I have a jungle blanket. Things like that I take camping with me that are going to be in the kayak anyway. And hopefully whatever happens, I'll have access to it. If I'm going on a walkabout away from my camp, I'm taking this with me, just over my shoulder, just in case. It should have everything to get me back to my camp, and everything else with my kayak and everything like that should be more than enough to get me back to where I need to be, hopefully. So don't think of this as my camping emergency survival. It's not a Holocaust thing. This is to get me home. Get me back to my kayak or wherever my base camp, get the other stuff I need, and then head home. And hopefully this has all the tools in here for me to be able to do that. If I get stuck and it's going to take me longer, I need to be able to make a fire. I need to be able to help myself out as far as any injuries or things like that, and have the necessary stuff that I need to survive in an emergency situation for myself, being out solo with nobody else around. So there you go. With that being said, we discussed this little gizmo, which is a clean canteen, a cup, and for me to be able to boil water, drink, whatever I need to do. And like I explained, I put it on the front of my pack. It's just fixed on with two little S clamps on it that hold it in the front. Goes over my shoulder like this, and I'm covered. I can walk around with it and whatever. So let's get into it right now. The bag is about 10 by 12. It's a little bit bigger than my day pack. Same thing, it is a Highlander satchel type, and let me open it up here and start going through the stuff really quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I've done it before. Not all the changes to it, just added stuff, basically, just like I did with my day pack. One thing I did put in here was my colorless titanium knife. It's an extra knife that I have with me. I can use it for whatever I need. It is really light and handy. It's sharp. It's a nice knife. It was inexpensive, and it's just an extra knife because I will have my knife on me, my other knife on me as well. So there's my two cutting tools for the part of the 10 C's list, and I'll go through that 10 C's list with you that Dave Canterbury really pushes, and everybody believes in what he's saying there. So I wanted to make sure I had that stuff. The other thing I needed was shelter, cover from the elements, frog tog, keep me dry. It's a really big poncho. If I need it, I can use it as a sunshade, or if it's raining, anything like that, I can just put it over me and use an emergency blanket underneath to keep me warm. Should get me by. I'm not planning on spending a long time out there, so hopefully not. So frog togs. Talked about this in an earlier video. This is my water purification kit. It's all in here. It also has a 3-liter plastic bag that I can fill, not a plastic bag, but it's a rubberized water bag, 3 liters, that attaches to the filter and allows me to carry extra water if I need it. So that's in here. Basic survival kit, been through that with you before. Map. this little blanket. It's just a warm little blanket about the side of it. It's just something extra for me. If I don't need it to keep me warm, I can put it on the floor and sit on it, keep me out of the mud, the dirt, or whatever. So got that. I have a basic first aid kit with just about everything I need to get me by on most simple injuries. If I break a leg or something like that, this is not really going to help me. I'll have to figure out some way to do it. And I do have duct tape, and I'm thinking some sticks or something just to hold my legs straight or my arms straight or whatever to get me to where I need to go. So it has the basics of what I need for first aid. 550 cordage is another C from the list, and he recommends two kinds. He talks about bank line and 550 cordage. When he was explaining the list, he had about 10 foot of 550 and a lot more bank line. Bank line is smaller, probably easy to carry, but I have a 50-foot line here of 550, and I think get bank line is a little overkill. So I have that. Yeah, I don't need the bank line. If he probably goes into situations a lot worse than I do, so he would need that extra. I can figure something else with that. Compass, another one of the C's. It's a good compass. It's a Solvin, and it does everything I need to know. I have a saw, a wood saw, folding saw. Although I have a knife and whatever, this is probably for heavier work. If I need something thicker, well, that's all that's available. This will get me through it. Take me too long with a knife, either one of them. The bigger one's too light and the smaller one's a little bit too small, although it's got the weight behind it. It'll take me forever to get through. So I've got the saw, backup eyes, backup glasses, told you about that, same prescription, just an old pair that's a little scratched up. Head cover, a beanie, keep the heat in, plastic bag. This I can use for a lot of different things. I can put stuff in it, like as I'm walking, picking up tinder and things for a fire. Use it in an emergency as to keep me as dry as possible. Just cut holes in it, put it over me, whatever. There's a lot of uses for that. I can put it over my stuff to keep it dry. Cotton bandana, nice and bright, so if there's somebody out there looking for me, I can hold it up and they'll be able to see it from the air or from a far distance, even on the ground. So it has other uses as well, but that's the main use for me. I have a headlamp. I do have another flashlight, and I do have two of them actually. And although they work fine, when you're on your own and you're working on something, you want your hands free. So having a headlamp, put the lamp on, your hands are free, you can work with it, so it works a little bit better. If you're in the camp and you're just looking around, you can just use the hand light lamp or whatever. Microfiber. Another bag and some Ziploc bags. Same thing, you can put stuff in as you're walking around, collect stuff, keep it in there, even use it as a water container, you know, to hold some water while you're boiling other water and stuff like that. It'll hold it. And worst comes to worst, you can use it as a container to carry the water. So there you go. That's the basics of my camping emergency bag. It is not a survival bag as such for long-term survival. The places I go and camp, I'm probably no more than 10 miles maximum away from somewhere that I can get help. So even if I'm injured, this should get me by. As far as food and things like that, like I was saying at my base camp, I have the food. I will add maybe some snacks into here, little bags of food, dry food, just in case, if I need, you know, for overnight, that sort of thing. But you can last longer without food, and if you have something just to keep you going, I should be fine. I don't plan on being out there for 3 weeks, so I'm going to be hopefully where I need to be within that time frame. That's another list, is the threes of survival. Basically, a person in really good shape, mentally, physically, that sort of thing, can hold their breath for 3 minutes. They can survive. You can survive without water for 3 days. You can survive without food for up to 3 weeks. The other one, which is a big one and everybody forgets, is 3 hours against the elements. And basically, if you're in the middle of Alaska and it's minus 32 degrees, you got to get warm, and you got to get warm fast. You've got 3 hours to do it before your core gets too cold and you can't recover from it. So shelter is the number one thing on the threes list, as well as on the 10 C's survival list from Dave Canterbury. So remember that. You've got 3 hours to protect yourself from the elements. Besides the clothes you got on, you got to find some other way to do it. So in the cold, you want to shelter, get a fire going, warm yourself up, keep yourself warm, put extra clothing on, whatever you can. In a hot climate, get out of the sun. Make some shade. Use whatever you have to get out of the shade, get into a breeze, anything to keep your core down. So there you go. Camping emergency bag. Hopefully it helped somebody and you're thinking about it. If you guys are doing this on your own, you need to have something like this. So keep that in mind. And down in the comments below, I'll put links to all the sites that I found this information on. So hopefully this helped you, and hopefully I'm set as far as emergency stuff goes, and I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe, comments, welcome anything. Give me a comment, I will answer it, and thanks for watching, and we will see you soon. Have a good one.